And welcome back to Accessible Expeditions. My name is Jason. I'll be doing this video by myself since I went on a cruise out of Long Beach with a buddy. We recently went on a 5-day cruise out of Long Beach on the Carnival Firenze. This video is going to go about the embarkation and debarkation at the beginning of the cruise and the ports. In a future video, I'm going to be going over some of the venues on the ship, since it has just gone through a retrofit. This is a new ship of Carnival fleet. It was purchased by Carnival from another cruise line called Costa. Carnival has branded this as one of their Italian fun ships. It has a lot of Italian decor and sort of features. We're going to review the ship based on how accessible it is and how Carnival can improve. To start with, you can leave out of Long Beach. You can fly into Long Beach or Los Angeles. They have buses that will take you to the port as a paid airport transfer. These buses should be equipped with the lift for wheelchair users. However, we recommend that you call guest services ahead of time and ensure that they have a properly equipped bus. If you do not leave a lift, you can store your wheelchair or scooter under the bus if you can take a couple steps up on your own. All right. All right. In Long Beach, if you want to rent a scooter or mobility device, this port has a center right in front of the cruise terminal where you pick up the scooter. It is best if arranged ahead of time, as it is less expensive and ensures that one is available. However, at this particular port, you may be able to rent one on the day of embarkation if there are scooters available. When you check into your cruise, you'll receive an arrival time. When you arrive at the terminal, there's a special assistance waiting area, so you'll not have to get into the general line. Sometimes they are very strict in their arrival times, and sometimes they're not. So go to the designated area. If you need assistance in terms of having one of the Carnival employees have a wheelchair and push you onto the ship, they're going to help you through the embarkation process that way. Once you are inside, they'll guide you where you need to go, as most of the elevators, including the elevators, as most people use the escalators. Unfortunately, they did not allow me to film inside the cruise terminal for safety reasons, apparently. We're gonna get on the ship. When you checked in, you are assigned a muster station. That's where you should go first thing. That's where you go if there's an emergency on board. Everyone is required to check into the muster station before the ship is allowed to leave port. We recommend you go to the muster station right away so that you can speak with the staff and find out where, if any, there's special instructions that you may have due to your disability. For example, if there's an actual emergency occur, they'll have staff have to help you and assist you on the lifeboats. Once on board, you generally don't get access to your staterooms until about 1 to 1:30, unless you purchase Faster Than Fun or are a platinum or diamond member on on Carnival. So be aware that you may have to carry your luggage with you until that time. This may impact how you want to pack, because it depends on how much luggage you want to take. Carnival has a few types of accessible rooms. On this cruise, I had a fully accessible inside cabin number 2470. This room, the doorway is wide enough to accommodate any scooters. Prior to boarding, you have to complete a questionnaire that ensures that your scooter will fit through the doors. It includes the dimensions of your scooter or mobility device, Carnival also has a policy that you are not allowed to keep scooters in the hallway. They must be in the room, and Carnival has been really upfront about their enforcement of this policy. This door was not an automatic door, so it could pose some difficulties depending on your upper body strength, because the doors are actually fairly heavy. As you can see, the room is set up for 2 twin beds. They can convert into a single queen/king bed. This room has a pull down, so you could accommodate 3 people in this room. This room has 2 American and 1 European outlets. The problem that the outlets are fairly far away from the bed, so if you need any medical devices such as CPAP, you may need to get an extension cord. However, you can always ask your cabin steward for one, and they can provide it to you. This is also where you will plug in your electric scooters to charge the battery. The room also was equipped for 2 USB near the bed, however, ours were not functioning, and maintenance was not able to fix them. Above each bed, there's a pull cord and or switch, so if you need an emergency assistance, you can activate these. I've done it on accident on multiple occasions. They'll call you first to see if it was accidentally engaged, which happens. And if the phone is not answered, then they'll send somebody out. This bathroom is a roll-in bathroom with a larger door, which unfortunately was also not an automatic door. The shower is 0 entry and has a bench, grab bars, and another emergency cord. The toilet has grab bars, and the sink is lower than the standard sink. There was enough room in itself to easily navigate in a wheelchair. Also in the room, there'll be a letter from the ADA compliance officer of the ship, which includes a special number to call if you have any questions or need assistance. It also included a map of the ship with all accessible and inaccessible areas labeled. Our first stop was Cabo San Lucas. The ship is a tender port, which means that they anchor offshore and they get you onto a smaller ship and take you to the pier. They provide a letter prior to arrival that was included in the information as where to go to board the tenders, if you need an accessible tender. In this instance, not always, but in this one, they had us go to guest services on deck 3, and a staff member escorted us to an elevator down to deck 0, where we were allowed to board the tender. Unfortunately, again, we were not allowed to film the process. In fact, we had the camera out, look at the film, and I got yelled at. Getting on the tender was quite a challenge and pretty scary. The water is not usually rough, but the tender was bobbing up and down quite a bit. I would estimate between 5 and 8 feet. So because it was bobbing up and down, sometimes the walkway was on a downward slope and sometimes it was on an upward slope. They had some staff members that were great. They helped push me, my wheelchair scooter onto the ship because it got to be quite steep. Once in the tender, there was no designated areas to park or sit, and the mobility device was just not secured in any way. It just turned off. So that was a little bit of a concern, but we were okay. At the pier, it was much calmer water, and there was a short ramp. But I still needed to get some assistance because there was a pretty big lip to where my scooter was unable to navigate. It's the same process in reverse when you want to get back on the ship. In Ensenada, there was no special instructions on how to debark process for people with disability. The ramp was level and very easy to get on and off. Super duper easy. We do want to say that the embarkation and debarkation experience in both the ports may vary due to tide conditions and weather conditions. But this is just an overall view. And Carnival did do a good job of ensuring that people with disabilities were able to get on and off the ship at these ports. Once we returned to Long Beach, Carnival had 2 options for debarkation. One is through the Carnival app, and you state whether you have to check your luggage, and they pick it up outside the door the night before, or a self-assist, where you take all your luggage with you, and they will not assist you with any of it getting off the ship. You can also pick the time slot you want to debark. If you require Carnival's aid to get off the ship by pushing you in a wheelchair, they will guide you to a designated wait area, and they will assist you from there. We chose the self-assist option. We did not have very much luggage, and we just took our luggage with us when we left the room. We then had arranged for the paid airport transportation to leave at 9 a.m. We got off the ship around 8:15, and we arrived at our shuttle area at 8:46 to be told that the shuttle had already left. There was not another shuttle, so we had to wait for the first one to come back. In Long Beach, they only had one. So we did not actually leave until about 10:30. The shuttle did not have a functional lift, and there was another guest, not myself, who was not ambulatory at all. and he had to be carried onto the shuttle by other guests. This is quite a common problem with the shuttles. It's not the first time we've had this happen to and from the airport that we've encountered. It's probably more frequently than what we really should, especially since we call ahead of time and we make sure that the airport transfers are accessible. Frankly, we have found that the airport transfers to and from Carnival are just not accessible and maybe not even worth it, to be honest with you. They just don't have any transportation that's super accessible for people. And honestly, the staff is just not very helpful. We actually recommend that you plan an alternative transportation like an Uber, Lyft, or rental car, even if it's a couple dollars more, for safety of mind. My buddy and I were very, very concerned that we weren't going to make our 12:30 flight when we left the port at 10:30. We made the flight. Long Beach is a very small airport, and it was pretty easy to check in and check out of. But again, when they tell you to be there 2 hours earlier and you don't get there an hour early, I start getting anxious because of going through security with a disability, pre-boarding with a disability on an airplane. It just takes a little extra time, and I just don't think people who don't have these disabilities actually think about that. Okay, on our next video, we're going to talk about the venues. During that and other aspects of the Carnival Firenze, and we're going to look forward to our big European trip, which is going to be on the Carnival Legend, which was just retrofitted and supposedly has some nice upgrades, including some new accessibility features. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and as always, like and subscribe.